Okay, so I was actually planning on doing a podcast on a completely different topic, but I was reading through the HubSpot State of Marketing Report 2024, and several things jumped out at me. Now, today, I'm going to talk about one of those things. I'm going to talk about the number one way that I think you should be making your content stand out against AI generated content. And this, in my opinion, is going to last and sustain through any and all Google updates, okay? Are you ready? We're going to jump on in. It's simple, but powerful, okay? So get ready to take this, implement this, and just see your content get so much better. You ready? Hey there, fellow entrepreneur. Welcome to Simple SEO and Marketing. Do you want to grow your business with sustainable traffic sources? Have you heard about the power of search engine optimization and you want to take advantage of it to get more traffic, more eyeballs on your business? But when it comes down to it, does SEO feel complicated and hard to implement? Are you tired of wondering what in the heck to do with your website to get more traffic and more leads knocking on your door? What if I could tell you that there was a simple, proven system for using SEO, blogging, and copywriting to get leads from your website, and not just any leads, high converting leads. Hey, I'm Faith Hannon, wife, mama, copywriter, SEO strategist, and barrel racer. And for the last 8 years, I've been figuring out what works and what doesn't work in the world of online marketing to get organic traffic. And now I'm here to share all the things I'm learning in the trenches of SEO, copywriting, and content marketing. How does 300%, 500%, or even 12,000% more traffic in a year sound? What could your business do with that kind of traffic increase? How many more people could you help? So listen in and prepare to take notes. I'm about to drop simple, actionable SEO marketing and copywriting tips, all with a heavy dose of Jesus-loving encouragement. Let's get you more traffic and more leads so you can help more people with your God-given gifts. Okay, so we've all been there. You are searching for something online, you want answers on something, and you type in your search query and some things come up and the description that you see is like, oh man, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And then you click on it and you start reading it and you're like, oh, this is not what I wanted. This is not going to help me. And it sounds like it was written by a dang robot. So you click back to Google, scroll a little further down, click something else, and you're like, finally, something that sounds like it was written by a human for a human. Okay. Now, in my professional and personal opinion, I really hate clicking on content that feels like it was written by a robot, aka AI. Now I know AI is getting better and there are definitely ways to use AI in your content and, coming up with ideas, but I will sing it from the rooftops that I do not think that using AI exclusively to create content is going to serve your business or your people or your SEO, okay? And the Google updates and search engine trends, like everything backs that up, okay? But the fact of the matter is, there is so much content out there that is just solely created by AI. And, as Google updates shift and change, Google is trying to get content that was written by humans and not exclusively by AI up the search engines, right? Google is trying to correct some of the swing that went towards solely AI content, but there is a way to make your content stand out against AI regardless of Google updates. And that way is this. You ready? Stories. 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 Now, why are stories so powerful? Okay. Why do stories matter so much in your content? Well, I'm going to give you some reasons, all right? Number one, stories establish a personal connection, okay? Now, think back to my story about clicking over to content, reading something that sounds like it was written by a robot, and then you're like frustrated, and then you find something that answers your question that was written, feels like it was written by a human, right? Like, you can feel that, right? Because you've done that. You've had that exact thing happen to you. And in telling that story, I established a personal connection with you where you have this moment that you're like, oh, me too. I feel that in my soul. And from a content creation standpoint of getting your content out there, having people click over to your website and ultimately buy your stuff, nothing says this is not AI or, oh my gosh, she's a real human too. Nothing says that like a good old-fashioned story, okay? And from an SEO perspective, this is point number 2. Having stories in your content, it sets your content apart from AI-generated content because there's the human factor in there. And the fact of the matter is, like, there are sometimes things that happen to us in our real lives that you just look at and you're like, you can't make this crap up. Like, you couldn't make this up. Like, it's just so bizarre or so crazy or so chaotic or so just real life that an AI is just not going to come up with that. And we as humans, we recognize that, we crave that connection, and we gravitate towards the realness and the rawness and the authenticity of a good story. And we latch onto that so much better than AI generated content. And the number 3 reason why stories matter in your content, and this is from an SEO perspective, okay? Google sees stories as the E in the EEAT experience, okay? So EEAT, in case you're unfamiliar with this, EEAT is a criteria that Google uses for ranking content in the search engine result pages. Which, BT dubs, if any of those acronyms just made you go, huh? Grab my SEO cheat sheet. It's the exact cheat sheet that my team and I use to keep track of all the weird SEO words without having to overthink it and use all of our brain power on that. But EEAT originally started as EAT, right? Which would make more sense. And EAT stood for expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And it was just a criteria that Google used to evaluate a website's quality and credibility. But recently, they've added a second E to stand for experience because they're realizing, oh, like you should actually know how to ride a horse before you write an article on how to ride a horse, right? And in your stories, in your content and in your stories, it is so crucial to have that experience factor as well as the expertise, but the experience factor. And just think about this from your consumer's standpoint, right? Like you as, maybe you're a great writer, a great researcher, a great whatever, you can sit there and you can tell me all day long how to ride a barrel horse. You can. You could tell me all about position, about body, about this, like all from things that you've researched and read. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to shoot you straight, pal, unless you have been on a barrel horse and felt just the power of a really awesome barrel horse beneath you and you've had some success there, I'm just going to smile and ride away as you're telling me how to ride a barrel horse. Because if you haven't had experience there, in my world, you don't have any expertise or any credibility. And so using stories within your content establishes that experience and gives you a voice to speak into your audience, okay? Now this, let's just look at it and call a spade a spade. This is why influencer marketing is even a thing, right? People love stories. We crave connection, okay? And stories are a way to do that in your content. And in your blog content, even on your static website, your static web pages, like story needs to be part of your content creation process, okay? Now, I actually have an additional podcast coming out for you on how to come up with stories to write better content, because I realize that that's a real struggle for a lot of people. And storytelling's pretty easy for me. Coming up with dumb things to tell people to make people laugh at me is pretty easy for me. But I realize that it's not easy for everybody. And I've been paying really close attention to how I come up with those things and how I'm able to use stories inside of my content. So in the next podcast, I have for you some tips on how to come up with stories to write better content and rank higher on Google. Now, if you do not know all of the SEO terms that I threw out there today, they're a little confusing for you, then make sure you download the SEO cheat sheet, okay? And if you're somebody that's like, oh my gosh, Faith, I need to learn how to write a good blog, I need to learn how to do all these things, then make sure you grab my signature course, the Organic Marketing Framework, and inside of that, you will learn how to write blogs that rank, how to write blogs that build credibility for your brand, and ultimately connect you to your customer so that they feel seen and loved and served and come to you for more and more solutions. All right, y'all, have a great rest of your day, and we'll chat with you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening in today. Hopefully this episode gave you some really tangible tips for better SEO and marketing to get more leads and more sales from your website. If it did, can I ask you a quick favor? Would you please share this episode with a friend and then just take 10 seconds and go leave a written review on Apple Podcasts. That is the very best way to help more Jesus-loving entrepreneurs scale their businesses so that they can help more people with their gifts and make an even bigger impact for the kingdom of God. And guess what? We now have a Facebook community where we can learn, hang out, and laugh. Go join the Facebook group now. It's linked in the show notes. And all the other things, courses, coaching, and copywriting can be found at my website, faithhannon.com. Until next time, God bless, and I'll talk to you soon.